Hi students, I hope all are safe in this environment of uncertainty. Stay safe in your home, obey your parents, and maintain your health. Today I am going to teach 9th standard ICSE biology. Next lesson, plants and animal. First unit, plants and animal tissues. Tissue system. Already we explained you tissue. What is tissue? Tissue is a group of cell. Tissue is a group of similar cell performing a specific function. Example, epithelium. So what is epithelium? Inner lining layer of internal organ is called epithelium. Most plants and animals possess a tissue system. So in all living plants, animal is made up of tissue. Example, complex tissue, permanent tissue, simple tissue. So lot of tissue presence in all living plants. But in animal, presence of epithelial tissue, epithelial tissue, then presence of an digestive organ consists of glandular tissue. So lot of tissue presence in a living organism. Several tissue together contributing to some specific function inside the body constitute an organ. So first of all, cell, then tissue, then organ. So what is organ? Example, tongue. In our body we have one important sense organs are called tongue, and this tongue comes under one of the organs. Several tissue together contributing. So group of tissue, number of tissue together contributing to some specific function inside the body constitute an organ. Many organs acting together to perform a specific life process constitute an organ system. So example, digestive system. So group of organ. Example for digestive system is a larger system of in human body and animals also, and this system start with mouth to anus. Nearly 9-meter lengthy process human being. So many organ acting together to perform a specific life process constitute an organ system. An organ system together constituted the organism. So first of all, cell, then tissue, then comes under organ system, and organism. Organism means living plants, living animal, living human being. They are named as an organism. So this organism will be mostly living plants, animal, human being. Plant tissue. Plant composed of lot of tissue. Example, plant is made up of lot of organs such as root, stems, leaf, flower, and bud, axillary bud, lot of parts. So in every part of plant is made up of tissue. Here we know for here the tissue systems at the apex of plants. Apex of the plants of such as stem, leaf, and root is come for here. One of the meristem tissue. Plant tissue are basically of two types. Okay, so entire plants, the tissue systems are divided. Two groups are called the meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Very, very important. Sometimes ask what is meristem, what is permanent tissue. 2 mark questions they respect to us. Meristem tissue. This is one of the meristem tissue. Meristematic tissue is nothing but because it is present in at the apex of plant, stem, root, and leaf. It's called young born tissue. It's called the meristem tissue. The number 1 is called meristem tissue, found in all growing points in the plants. What is growing point? At the tip. So we know that a young part of plants, tip of root, stems, leaf, presence of a meristematic tissue. Cells are small and cubical in shape. In all the cells are very small, congested inside because without any interstitial space, and cube-like structure. See, the cells will be a cube-like structure, cubical in shape, Cell wall is thin, large nuclei, and vacuole almost absent. So the cell will be the cell wall is very thin nature, very small, very thin nature because the cell is always going to divide. That's why cell is very thin. Large nucleus. Every cell consists of a large nucleus. So normally a dense cytoplasm and prominent nucleus content of cell is called meristem. So large nuclei and the vacuole is almost absent. Cells are tightly packed. I explained, here all the cell, there is no any intercellular space. Every cell so tightly packed, actually dividing, transformed into mature permanent tissue. So the cell going to divide. The moving down cell is called permanent tissue. So meristem tissue, apical meristem, a kind of a type of meristem present at the apex. The cell is always going to dividing. A divided cell just move down. Okay, so this area presents of permanent tissue, and this permanent tissue occupy entire parts of plant. Then type of meristem tissue: apical meristem, lateral meristem. Usually three type: apical, intercalary, and lateral. But in our syllabus we have only two type of meristem: apical meristem, lateral meristem. It's called apical meristem. It's labeled already. Apical meristem, and down meristem is called lateral meristem or cambial meristem. One more, the word is called for cambium, means the cell development of an cambial tissue such as procambium, vascular cambium, and core cambium. So that cambial tissue developing those meristem is called a lateral meristem. Then first meristem is located near the tip. First meristem is apical meristem. So that's why I gave for here first meristem or apical meristem located near the tip of root, stems, and leaf. So entire young part of plant stem, leaf, and root presence of an apical meristem. Lateral meristem is situated below the bark and is responsible for increase in diameter of the stem, because the prime duty or called increasing in diameter of the stem and other parts with the help of a lateral meristem, because this meristem presence of some cambial tissue such as procambium, vascular cambium, core cambium. So that cambial tissue responsible increasing their grip, diameter, and size of the plants. It's called for a lateral meristem. Permanent tissue. Here we see the picture is a cross section of plant stem. Okay, so here is outermost layer is called epidermis, outermost layer. Then innermost hypodermis means inside. Then cortex, massive layer. Then endodermis, pericycle, phloem, and cambium. I explained, cambium. Cambium presence in between phloem and the xylem. Is compared here intercalary meristem, or is called intercalary cambium. So cambium, then metaxylem. So first formed xylem is called protoxylem, then metaxylem. So metaxylem, then medullary, the metaxylem, protoxylem, both xylem presence here. This compare here metaxylem, innermost part is presence of an protoxylem, medullary ray, xylem vascular bundle, and pith. Permanent tissue, the cell which have lost their ability to divide, because already I explained you meristem, young born tissues of plant stems, leaf, and root presence of meristem, and this cell responsible to develop permanent tissue. But this cell lost their ability to divide, because ability of division only presence in meristem tissue, but permanent tissue lost their ability to divide. It gives permanent shape to perform some permanent function. So what's the function of permanent tissue? Permanent shape, permanent function. What is permanent function? Lot of function. Example, xylem tissue, transport water, phloem tissue, translocate food particle, cambium, increase the diameter. So it's some specific permanent function. So it gives permanent shape to perform some permanent function. They may be living or dead cell. So this permanent tissue either dead or living, but they will assist with the help. If you are dead, the cell will be assisting. Some assisting cell will be assist. The cell will be function. According to their functions, tissues are of three types: protective tissue, supporting tissue, conducting tissue. So permanent tissue, the cell which have lost ability permanent function, either they are maybe living or dead. Then tissues are three type: protective tissue, supporting tissue, and conducting tissue. First, protective tissue cells are thick walled, found in the surface of the root stem and leaves. Example, epidermis. We know for this epidermis is a protective function because it's always around us, entire plant stem, and even our body we have a skin. Skin is a protective function. Likewise, in all the plants, presence of and protective tissue is called epidermis. It is an outermost protective layer. So epidermis, cork shell. Cork shell means mature plant stem, woody bearing plants, presence of a cork cell in the form of a bark. You know, for here in our school we in our ground have a neem tree. The neem tree outermost bark is made up of a cork. So epidermis is at the beginning, at the primary growth happen, the plant's person epidermis. After retain, after completing primary growth, the plants goes to secondary growth, development of a cork cell in the bark. Supporting tissue, it is of several types. The three most important ones are called parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. So it's called supporting tissue. Then first, number one, parenchyma. The cells are here. I gave us some picture. If you see plant cortex, stem cortex, and leafy mesophyll tissue, is presence of a loosely arranged large intercellular spaced one cells are called parenchyma, thin-walled cell. The cells are thin-walled, oval, or circular, or polygonal, different shape depends upon that group of plants presence in different location. The shape is vary, okay, because they are oval means X shaped, circular means round shaped, polygonal means different angled cell, polygonal shape. Usually a single large vacuole. Its cells are found in soft part of plant. What is soft part? Leaf and plant stem, cortex and pith. Cortex and pith is made up of parenchyma cell, and it is usually a single large vacuole. Its cells are found in soft part of plants. What are the soft part? Cortex and pith. Then it provides temporary support, store food as in potatoes. You know, for potato tuber, the entire tuber or underground stem, presence of parenchyma cell, the cell responds to store food. Okay, but it provides temporary support. The leaf contains chloroplast and are termed as chlorenchyma. So depends upon various region presence of parenchyma tissue. They are divided into different functions also. Example for aerenchyma, chlorenchyma, stellate parenchyma, storage parenchyma, data type. But in all the plants leafy region green color because this parenchyma cell is filled with chloroplast. Okay, so the leaf contains chloroplast and are termed as chlorenchyma. Second simplest tissue is called collenchyma. So parenchyma, collenchyma. The cells which are elongated and cell wall is thickened at the corner. Here we know for here the corner of the cells is made up of some depository compound are called some lignin. It's called lignified uneven thickness. Cells form each and every corner of the cells because depends upon the deposition. The cell will different shape also. Here the cell which are elongated and cell wall is thickened at the corner. It is found in the leaf stalk and below the epidermis of the stem. It helps to support. The prime duty of this collenchyma cell is called a support. What is support? Mechanical strength. Then next cell is called sclerenchyma. Third type of simple tissue is called sclerenchyma. Simple permanent tissue called sclerenchyma. It is long, narrow, and dead cell. Here we know for here the cell consists of a primary wall, secondary wall. Here only one wall, primary wall and secondary wall develop an uneven. But in parenchyma only primary, but there is no any secondary wall. But here sclerenchyma cell is long, narrow, and dead cell. These cells develop very thick wall due to the deposition of a lignin. So secondary wall is dead cell because it's filled with a kind of an deposited compound is called a lignin. This tissue provides strength to plants found in stem veins of the leaves. So normally the sclerenchyma presents in the regions of and stems veins of leaves. Veins means that the midrib. What is midrib? And the middle layer of a lamina will be divided into two parts with the help of an midrib. So this midrib is called a vein. Is made up of and composed of an xylem and phloem, and this vein and stem presence of sclerenchyma. So this sclerenchyma responsible very good mechanical support of the plant. So simple permanent tissue divided into parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. So parenchyma is thin walled cell, only one layer, only one wall layer called primary wall. Collenchyma cell, because prime to be called storage and support, storage and distribution. Collenchyma cell, primary wall and secondary wall is formed, uneven thickness will be formed at the edges and the corner of the cell. The sclerenchyma double wall layer, primary wall, secondary wall. Secondary wall is deposited a kind of lignin depository compound, and so this tissue provide strength of the plants found in stems and veins of the leaves. Then third tissue is called conducting tissue. Number one, protective tissue. Number two, supporting tissue. Third is called conducting tissue. Xylem and phloem is also called a complex tissue. Okay, so it's a major tissue presence in all the plants. Very good role for here xylem and phloem. Xylem tissue and phloem tissue. First, xylem tissue we know for here made up of a xylem vessel, xylem trachea, xylem parenchyma, xylem fiber. So four. So fiber parenchyma. So given for xylem vessel, xylem trachea, xylem fiber, xylem parenchyma, usually made up of a xylem tissue. Number one, it is a type of complex permanent tissue. It consists mostly of a dead cell. Xylem cells are of four types. Okay, so xylem tissue is a complex permanent tissue. Major are called a conducting tissue. What is conducting? Transporting material. Okay, in all the water and minerals with the help of xylem tissue, and translocate food particle with the help of phloem tissue. So it is a type of complex permanent tissue. It consists mostly of a dead cell. Xylem cells are of four types. They are called tracheas, vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fiber. So four type of an xylem tissue. Tissue means group of cell. What are the group of cell? Trachea cell, vessel cell, xylem parenchyma, xylem fiber, made up of tissue. Number one is called trachea. These are elongated tubular cells with a tapering end and thick lignified walls. You know for here tracheas. First of all, trachea. The tracheas are elongated, so lengthy, tube-like and thick lignified walls. What is thick lignified wall means? The cell consists of that. The cell consists of xylem cell consists of an or xylem trachea cells made up of primary wall, secondary wall. Secondary wall is filled with lignin or depository compound. Trachea is a dead cell. These cells have pits in their end wall. So here is a small open presence. Both end wall as well as entire parts of trachea responsible transport water from lower level to higher level. Then the pits in the end wall help to transport water and mineral upwards. Okay, so these pits are responsible transport water and mineral where in lower level to higher level through by capillarity, otherwise called some suction force. With the help of that force, water is moving from lower level to higher level with the help of an xylem tracheas. Then xylem vessel. These are also dead, elongated, tube-like structure with the lignified wall. So, first picture we saw the first xylem tissue. First picture is an xylem vessel. This cells also dead, elongated, tube-like structure with lignified wall. Vessels are made up of vessel elements or vessel membrane. So, this entire vessel is made up of vessel elements or vessel membrane. These cells are arranged end to end to form long tube for conducting of water and minerals. So the cells will be arranged one by one, end to end through by pipe-like structure. But every cell's presence of an cross wall. The cross wall consists of a small opening are called perforation. The perforation divided into are called a simple perforation, multiple perforation presence in end wall. So this ends was responsible to transport water. These cells are not found in all type of plants, example for, but this vessels presence only in angiosperm or flowering plants, but completely absent pteridophytes found. The xylem parenchyma, these are living parenchymatic cells that help conduct water laterally and also store food. So entire xylem tissue, the xylem parenchyma only living tissue or living cell, all others are dead cell, because this living parenchyma assisting other cell responsible to transport water. Xylem fiber, these are dead sclerenchyma cells that provide mechanical strength. So xylem is made of xylem vessel, xylem trachea, the xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers, xylem vessel and xylem tracheas of transport water. Xylem parenchyma assisting dead cell and performance of and transport of water. Xylem fiber good role for mechanical strength of the xylem tissue. Phloem tissue, you know, for a phloem tissue is made of C elements made up of a C plate and C tuber. Companion cell, phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers. Okay, xylem tissue is made up of xylem vessel, xylem trachea, xylem parenchyma, xylem fiber. Here made up on 4 type of cell composed to form phloem tissue, such as C element is made of C plate, C tube, number 1. Number 2, companion cell. Number 3, phloem parenchyma. Number 4 is called phloem fiber. It is another type of complex permanent tissue. It consists mostly of living cells. Phloem composed of 4 type of cell. Number 1 is called sieve tubes or sieve elements made of sieve tube, sieve plate also. These are slender, elongated tube-like cells. Here is given sieve tube, slender, elongated tube-like cell. Sieve tubes are living cell, but they lack nuclei. Lack nuclei means they require some assistance. The assistance going to be given for here companion cell and the phloem parenchyma. Then the transverse walls of sieve tube have small pore called the sieve plate. It is a small open. The cross wall or transverse walls of a sieve tube, sieve elements, presence of cross wall. The cross wall is made up of a lot of small opening. The opening are called the sieve plate or sieve pore. Sieve plate have continuous lining of cytoplasm through their pores. Then second type is called companion cell. Companion cells are thin-walled cells with a dense cytoplasm and elongated nucleus. So companion cell, thin-walled cell but elongated cell. The cell will be elongated. So little lengthy nature, thin-walled with a dense cytoplasm and elongated nucleus. These cells assist sieve tubes in the conduction of food. It is not found in all type of plants, only in closed seeded plants are called angiosperm. So closed seeded, open seeded are gymnosperm and closed seeded plants are called angiosperm. So angiospermic plants only present companion cell, very good assistance of dead cell are called the sieve elements. Okay, then next cell is called the phloem parenchyma, phloem fiber.